I'm dancing with our opening video. Hello, my beautiful ladies and gentlemen. How are you feeling? I am over the moon. Ask me. Sanet, how are you feeling? Thank you for asking. I am over the moon. My guest is here. I just want to mention that it is going to be a recording because I will be on my way to Phoenix, Arizona. And I know I don't pronounce it the right way, but this is the best I can do. Phoenix. Maybe Portia and Dr. Stan can help me with the pronunciation, but it's in Arizona and it's Phoenix. My beautiful ones, our show today is called Guardians of Boundaries. What does boundary means for you? Do you've got healthy boundaries? Can you stand in front of the mirror and say, I love yourself unconditionally? And to make sure that I'm okay, I need to set up a few boundaries. Do you have that? So my show is going to be amazing. I've got amazing guests from the USA, and I'm also in the USA now. So I'm in the USA, and I've got an amazing lady all the way from Canada, Christine. I cannot wait to bring my guest in. Are you ready to be in the moment and to have 3 deep breaths with me? And then I am going to play Jose Escobar's video. And then as soon as his video is completed, my guest is here. So here we go. Take an in-breath. Exhale. Another one in. Exhale. Last one in. Exhale. Wow, amazing. So here is my beautiful Jose's video.
It's Jose Escobar. I live in Washington, D.C. area. I'm a family man. I'm an entrepreneur, coach, author, and speaker. I have communities. I support people. I'm a servant leader, and the list goes on. And I'm primarily the CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. That's my bread and butter. That's my core offer, right? That's where I put most of my time and energy. And the Connected Leaders Academy is a growing community. It's a tribe of some of the highest level entrepreneurs from all over the world. We're now over 350 plus members, 42 states across the US, and 17 international countries. If you're an entrepreneur out there that's looking to grow personally and professionally, scale your influence, develop your skill sets, move the needle in your business, more money, more clients, right? This is the community for you.
Thank you, my beautiful Jose, for sponsoring my show. So my beautiful viewers out there and the ladies on the Diamond Beauties and gentlemen on the Tanzanite Heroes, welcome to the show. Welcome to my amazing guest. And if you want to sponsor the show or know of I need 2 more for the Power Hour, please let me know. I will be forever grateful for that. So now it's all over to our show. And I'm standing because I'm very excited to have my guest. So if I can start with you, my beautiful Portia, can you introduce yourself and tell us what boundaries means for you?
First and foremost, Sanet, I extend my gratitude to be here. So for those of you who do not know me, I'm Portia Booker. I'm the host of the Grief Grand Tour TV show, where we focus on embracing gratitude in order to evolve grief. So when I think about the word boundaries, I think about, number one, placing limits. And I think when we think about placing limits, the word limit has 2 eyes for a reason, right? Just like the word vision, because only we can see what our limits truly are, not based on what society tells us the definition of what boundaries or limits should be. And so for me, setting a boundary is part of self-love. it's honoring your own, what I like to call well-being, right? Because I can say from my own grief journey of losing both of my parents in the last 2 years, I've had to really learn how to set clear boundaries. And the best one that I've learned was to be communicative in so many different ways. Like, for example, when a lot of people reach out to me on different anniversaries of my mom's birthday, my father's birthday, their transition days, I have to literally tell people, hey, thanks for the messages, but it's a little too much right now. Or I just go on my Facebook and just hit, mute on all the notifications. So I think the best definition for boundaries, at least for me, is to, number one, honor myself. Number two, set up red tape for self-preservation. And number three, letting people know, right? Being assertive. Now, there's a way to be assertive without being, rude about it, but it's all about really putting yourself first, right? For once, I think we tend to place limits or boundaries based on what other people might think. But at the end of the day, setting a boundary is about self-love, you first.
Wow. Thank you, my beautiful Portia. And I just want to say thank you for also, you are going to do 2, possible 3 shows for me that I am not able to record before going on this adventure to Phoenix. Maybe that was the right pronunciation. Phoenix, Arizona. And then I'm going to go to New York. And then I'm going to go to Nebraska, Omaha, Nebraska, coming back to Dallas. And then on the 8th, I am in 48-hour transit back to South Africa. So thank you for standing in for me, my beautiful Portia. You are amazing.
Anytime.
Thank you, Christine, my beautiful Christine. Can you introduce yourself and tell us what boundary means for you?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you so much for having me on. I am absolutely in love with what you are doing for transforming the world and bringing love and sparkle everywhere you go. And so far with, these other 2 guests here, I'm loving the energy here. So thank you for that. I am a coach and a mentor specifically for moms who feel overstretched and overwhelmed with their life. And at the same time, desperately want something more for themselves and don't want to sacrifice their families in order to do that. And that is exactly what I help them do. My famous thing that I always love to say is, if you can change the and to the but, you empower yourself. And so it is completely possible to feel that overwhelm and find a way to nurture yourself and look after your family. And it's completely possible to do that. And so for me, what I have learned for boundaries is I think about it as a way that I want to love myself and those around me. And if I can set up a way, it's like a garden path that you can enjoy the beauty around you without trampling on something that I don't want you to be on, and vice versa. That I can walk in communication with you without trampling on something that's a no-go area for you. And so I'm all about connection. I'm all about meeting people where they're at and having them feel seen and heard and valued. And boundaries is critical for that process. We don't know what areas are no-go zones right now for whatever reason. And you might not even have to say the reason. It's just a matter of letting someone know, this is what I need right now. This is what I want right now. This is how it needs to be. And so when I think about that, I think about, if I want to connect with people and I want them to connect with me, let's do it in the most beautiful way to enjoy the garden together.
Wow. You are so deep. Can you please tell me your golden nugget again?
The power of the and. And so it is completely possible to hold 2 opposing things at the same time, and they each have the equality, the validity to be there in that space. And it just changes everything. It changes everything in my life and anyone's life.
I love it, because I remember I heard somebody say a long time ago, if you put but after something, then people don't hear the but, because then that first part is not really what you didn't mean it. And because if I think about butt, I always like to slap my butt, but not really, but it's the butt, the backside, the butt.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when I saw your beautiful ants, and I thought, wow. And then I could not bring in the opening video, the whole, what you have just said to us now, because it's too long. But how amazing. And I love it. And I love you. You are amazing.
Love you too.
Thank you. My beautiful Dr. Stan, please introduce yourself and tell us what boundaries means for you.
Hey, again, I'm Dr. Stan Harris, aka Dr. Breakthrough. And again, always give a disclaimer, I can't provide the breakthrough, I just prescribe the breakthrough. But when people practice the breakthrough prescription, God Almighty provides the breakthrough they desire and deserve. And the breakthrough is exploding through barriers that at one time seemed insurmountable. So on the one hand, I tell people, the only way to know your limits is to know what you need to break through. But on this hand, when we're talking about boundaries, we're talking about setting up a protected place for each one of us so that we can now be a best or at least better version of ourselves. And so there's several things that, again, a person puts in place. So to me, those boundaries are things that obviously my wife, my ABCD, my adorable brown caramel delay, she's got some boundaries, and I understand her boundaries. She understands my boundaries. And those are what allow us to operate and have our individuality, but yet be one in common purpose. And so there's certain things that I have as far as spiritual boundaries and physical boundaries, working out, so forth, so things. So, I think boundaries are, in the scripture, it calls it a waymark, right? So to set up some waymarks, like, for instance, like if we're going to have an argument, we're not going to go to bed angry. Okay, that's a boundary, because again, if we do that, we'll open ourselves up. And so that's a boundary. It's like, no, we got to be up to 2:00 in the morning. We're going to be up to let's just hurry up and get this thing right so we go to bed, right? And so anyway, so there you go.
Wow, I love it. And Dr. Stan, my husband, and myself also have this to say, if you cross with each other, we have to speak before going to bed. So we make sure that long before we go to bed that we have the discussion, so that it doesn't take in our sleeping time. So I love it. Thank you, my beautiful Dr.
And by the way, one of my boundaries, by the way, is if I'm angry or if I'm upset, then I'm not going to speak, because when you speak when you're angry, you'll make one of the greatest speeches you will ever regret.
Yes.
So, that sounds like a Dr. Breakthroughism, aka writer downer. So again, speak when you're angry, you will make one of the greatest speeches that you will ever regret. And so, and then I just heard this recently that fits. Sometimes you believe something, you have something, but it's like having the words to put it in. And I heard somebody say sometimes you got to give yourself a timeout, right? It's like, you know what? Let me just stop for a minute. I need a timeout. I need to get myself back together, because I want to be able to give you the best version of myself, and I can't do it right now. So I'm going to need some time, and I'll get right back to you.
Wow.
That's respecting and honoring yourself as well as the other person, as well as the situation.
Wow.
I think Portia, my super powerful sister, has something to say, because I saw that hand go up.
Yeah, Dr. Stan, when you brought up just now how when you're angry, you'll make the greatest speech that you'll regret. I'll be honest with you. I've made some of the best speeches from when I've been angry. So, for example, my audiobook, Finding Grace Within Grief, Her Transition, My Transformation, was a product of my anger from my mom's transition, and I'm using Christine's word, and the direct responses that different people were dishing on to me from their unresolved grief. So for me, I think anger can be a powerful tool if it's used in a proper way or channeled into something creative.
Wow.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, anger is energy. And the scripture says, he that is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he that ruleth his spirit than he that taketh the city. So he that hath no rule over his own spirit is like a city that's broken down and without walls. So oftentimes we're using it in a negative way, like all the road rage and the crazy things that are going on. But no, You're exactly right. I mean, but again, the statement is speak when you're angry, and you can make one of the greatest speeches you ever regret. And like you said, at the same token, if you channel that anger properly, because again, anger is energy. The danger is that sometimes people, when they are angry, they don't channel it properly. So kudos to you for doing such a great job in modeling that.
I love that. Thank you so much. So, Dr. Stan, I also gave myself a time out the other day. Because I got a lot of messages while I was flying, and I was like 42 hours in transit from South Africa to the UK, then to Dallas. It was in transit 42 hours, and then I could not. And when I got here, I got so many messages, and I saw all these messages, and I just said to me, Sanet, I went and stand on this big frame mirror frame. I said, Sanet, time out. You have spent a lot of money. Well, your husband spent a lot of money to bring you to see your mom. My mom, I'm so happy to see my mom. I didn't see her for 2 years, and you're here with the family. So, time out, Sanet. You can in 2 days' time connect with everybody, because I wanted to just make sure that I am here and that I am connected. So for me, Dr. Stan, it was good, because I maybe in the past I would have quickly say to everybody I will come back to, and then I will spend. But now I decided, time out. I love it. I love it. Thank you, my beautiful Dr. Stan. So, my beautiful Portia, can you tell us? You have an amazing TV show where you bring in people for, to talk about grief. But, one of the things that I really loved when you, and maybe it was one of our Mrs. Spots. So, Dr. Stan, maybe you will not know, but I've got 7 beautiful, amazing women that has half an hour sessions every day, that anybody from the Diamond Beauties, any lady from the Diamond Beauties can phone in to be seen and to be heard and just to be. They don't have to speak, just to be. And beautiful Portia is our Saturday Mrs. Spots from Beauty and the Beast. And then she is the fun house. She is bringing the fun. But something that she mentioned, and I think it was maybe in one of the shows that you did there for us, the hosting, you said that grief can be anything. It can be loss of, can you go a little bit into that, please, my beautiful Portia?
Yeah, I can talk about this all day, Sanet. Just like how Christine mentioned the word "and," right? Grief is inclusive of not just only the physical transition. I don't call it death. Death doesn't make sense in my eyes. It's transition. We go through multiple transitions in our life, from when we graduate high school, from when we take our first job, when we have relationships or friendship breakups. It's not just the physical transition. It's different transitions across our life. And we tend to debunk the grief that we experience from that change in our life, because it's no longer the same routine of, oh, I'm going to be in the same classroom with all these people for the last 4 years. Or when you embark from corporate to becoming an entrepreneur, sometimes we think that these people are going to be surrounding us or part of our community, but a lot of times they stay behind. And there's a grief there. Or there's a grief that comes from making a positive decision for yourself. And you wonder, like, oh my goodness, should I have gone backwards? Did I really make this decision too soon? So just to, like Christine's point, I think, for one, gratitude comes into play a lot for me when it comes to my grief journey, because you can find gratitude in any and everything. Second, when it comes to grief, there's a way to go about your grief journey that tends to not be described in our societal narrative, hence my audiobook that came out. Grief to me stands for gratitude, reframe, intention, empowerment, and forgiveness. And to me, it's all about reframing how you look at grief. Because once you've gone through, and I'm sure, Christine, for you, there's probably grief that you go through every single day with your daughter and her unique way of being in the world, right? So I think, again, that's why I asked you what her superpower was, because it's all about kind of like what Dr. Stan says, is reframing what we see, right? Creating our own unique definition on what our purpose is instead of what society deems as a label. So does that answer it, Sanet? I know I kind of went on.
No, it's exactly. That's so beautiful. Thank you, my beautiful Portia. Christine, I know that, Portia, we just quickly talked just before the show about your beautiful daughter's superpower. Can you tell us a little bit about that, and then what you have done now, helping her, but then helping the world out there, please?
Yeah, I poured everything into my family, and I really wanted to be the best mom, the best wife that I could be. And what happened out of that is that I forgot that I was supposed to be part of that equation. And so the more that I poured into them, the drier and drier and drier I became until I broke. And I had a very significant life-threatening, life-altering burnout where my body just gave out and was like, no. And I had a choice in that moment of what next, what is going to happen. And through all of that, it's not like my daughter's situation got any easier or anything like that, right? Life continued to happen. And so out of that was where I decided in that moment that I mattered too. And it wasn't just my family or me. There was an and. And I was just as equally as important as they were. And I didn't want to lose them or myself moving forward. And so I learned like this term ambiguous grief. I didn't even know that was a thing until I learned that it's something that you're faced with every moment, every day, every month, every year, and how to navigate that. And so then I was like, I can't be the only mom that faces this, whether it's with a special needs child or not. Your other kids grow up and they graduate school and they, get their first car and they do all of these things. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, they're not that cute little kid anymore. Or, you change jobs or careers or, whatever it is. And so that's when I thought it is my turn. Just like I had an amazing therapist and modalities that were able to help me, I saw myself as that next bridge of healing for humanity. This idea of creating this space for moms to have those uncomfortable conversations and to be able to realize they are just as equally important, and to talk about all the things that you don't have the space to say, because we love our children and we want something more, and it's okay. It really is okay. And so, yeah, that was my own journey through, and my marriage is stronger. The relationship with my girls are stronger. My friendships are stronger. I've gotten into a career after, 2.5 decades of being a stay-at-home wife and mom. And I went from this woman who thought that she couldn't be anything other than a wife and mom to realizing there's so much more. And it actually makes me an even more powerful wife and mom and human on this planet.
Wow. Portia and Dr. Stan, Christine is like, oh, goosebumps. Wow, Christine, thank you. I know the first time I met you, you blew me away. Oh, thank you, Portia, for that. I wish I could. I don't even have my big heart that I normally have at home. So thank you for that, Portia. There you are. for the glitter. So my beautiful Christine, since the first time I met you, you are truly one of a kind. And I'm so honored to have met you and have you on today's show. So my beautiful Dr. Stan, I know that you have done so much in your life, and you have taught so many people, not only physical, but also spiritually. Please, can you tell us a little bit more about all your amazingness? Can I just add a ness to it again?
Well, first of all, I always have to give a disclaimer. And again, I was a nobody that God and I made into a somebody, and now I'm committed to telling everybody he can do the same and a whole lot more for anybody.
See, ladies, see what I told you. This man is amazing with his words.
So, but seriously, though, I mean, my main message in life is simple. I was a mess, and so the key I teach people is every master was once a mess, and therefore every mess can one day be a master. The beautiful thing about that is when a mess becomes a master, you now have a message that if you market properly to the masses, you make millions, and that's my story. And so the crazy thing about it was, though, is, when you're a mess, you got to work so hard to being a master. And then when you become that master, now you got to work so hard at convincing people that you were a mess. Because then they start looking at you, oh, but you're so-and-so. No. Like you should have seen me back, you know what I mean? And so I get the joy of empowering people. Like not long ago, well, I say not long ago. To me, it was a couple of years ago, But my wife, she's always saying, David, you say not long ago. It could be a couple of years ago. Well, it seemed like not long ago to me, I mean, hey, when you're 63 years wise, right? A couple of years is that's not long ago. But anyway, so I said to her, I said, baby, do you know what you are? She said, what? I said, you're God's treasure chest. She said, ooh, that sounds nice. What exactly do you mean by that? I said, well, within inside of you, God put jewels and diamonds, trinkets, gifts, abilities. And he said, he put all that in you. And I said, now, but there's one little situation. She said, what's that? I said, if the treasure chest stays closed, the treasure chest is the only one that benefits. So sometimes the treasure chest has to come outside its comfort zone because obviously I'm super outgoing, she's super ingoing, right? Introvert. And so you got to just crack it open sometimes so those jewels, so it can just shine out. She's like, ooh, I get what you're talking about. I was like, yes, sometimes we have to come outside of our comfort zones to receive that breakthrough. So I teach people your next breakthrough is on the other side of your comfort zone. And let me just give you, see, I used to have a comfort zone where I knew I could not fail. The same four walls and busy work were really more like jail. I longed so much to do the things I'd never done before, but staying inside my comfort zone and paced the same old floor. I said it didn't matter that I wasn't doing much. I said I didn't care for things like such. I claimed to be so busy with the things inside my zone, but deep inside I longed for some sweet victory of my own. I couldn't let my life go by just watching others win. I took my breath and held it and took a step and let the change begin. I took a step, and with new strength I never felt before, I kissed my comfort zone goodbye and closed and locked the door. So if you're in a comfort zone, afraid to venture out, remember that all winners were at one time filled with doubt. A step or two or words of praise can make your dreams come true. So greet your future with a smile. Success is there for you. And your next breakthrough just might be on the other side of your comfort zone. So Christine, her beautiful story started with what? She came outside of her comfort zone. And now look at how much more she has. Look, but again, in the beginning, it's fearful. It's like, but again, powerful people learn to become, get this now, comfortable with being put in an uncomfortable situation, because it's only when you're in an uncomfortable situation that the greatness comes out that you didn't even know was there. And so anyway, let me be quiet.
Christine, do you've got something to say for Dr. Stan?
Amazing. I love that, and I feel it with every ounce of my being, and I just know that it will inspire millions of people, because yes, it is all outside that comfort zone, and you can make the uncomfort zone pretty enough that you want to be there. And you can bring your own sparkle, and you can add some pillows, and you can make it whatever you need to be until you need to go to the next space, and either you can take those same sparkles or you can create new ones. And everything that I have now has absolutely been out of my comfort zone. And I look at my relationships, and particularly with our youngest, she's 22, like she's not a little child anymore, and yet is very, very young. And I know that she looks for that comfort being out of the comfort zone. And I think that we do need to remind each other that it is out of the comfort zone that you find what you're looking for.
I love it. I love it. So, my beautiful Portia, you've got something for Dr. Stan? Because I want him to give us his golden nugget. I will tell you why, but do you have something to say for Dr. Stan?
What came to my mind just now, hearing his poem, because it sounds more like a poem and a mixture of spoken word. What comes to me immediately is Maya Angelou. That's what comes to me immediately because of her dictation and how intelligent she was and how she depicted the world through literature. Because stories are how we learn. Stories like in the Bible, right? I compare my story, my journey of grief with Job. The book of Job is literally my life. I've lost everything. My dream job, both of my parents, my great-grandmother, my career, everything in 7 years, lost it all. And now I'm starting to see it come back. But the key to me being able to get there was stepping out of my comfort zone. My comfort zone was being under the, what I like to call, veil of my parents' shadow because I was safe there. But I had to break free from being under that. I couldn't continue to be under Shay and Charles's names. I had to build my own name, right? So I love, first of all, just the creative aspect that you've weaved into helping to uplift other people, because it's even through that for me, building on my spiritual foundation, because I walked away from my spirituality. I walked away from it after I lost everything. I'm like, screw it. You can take me too. But God had to sit me down like, here, take a seat, my child. Listen, I needed you back. So I had to take everything away. I had to kind of like putting yourself in timeout. God had to put me in timeout in order for me to listen. Wow. So I love it. I think there's always a message within our journey of mastery, obstacle to opportunity, however you want to put it. All of us are here for a reason, for a season. And our story is not for us. It's to help other people to stop their goals and dreams from making the cemetery wealthier. But it starts with us, to piggyback on what you said, Christine, making that choice.
Can I drop something here? Because I just know, seriously, I posted this on Facebook. Somebody needs this. And I said, you got to stop focusing on what you've lost and learn to leverage stop focusing on what you've lost, or rather what you have left, and then leverage that to make your comeback. And the breakthrough is when you bounce back even better, right? So it's not what you've lost, rather what you have left that you can leverage to bounce back even better. And so the successful people in life, I often say, pain and adversity causes some men and women to break. It causes others to break records, right? But it's all based on you, like I said, that grief, that reframing process. And also, you keep using that, the word gratitude. I got to break down gratitude. To me, comes from two words: great attitude, gratitude. Gratitude is when you have a great attitude that produces gratitude. And you can be grateful with simple things. Like, for instance, when I wake up in the morning, like I did early this morning, I always thank God for the same thing. And that is, as of this morning, it's my 23,151st day on God's wake-up list. Now, my beautiful, incredible, awesome mom only had 18,065 days. She was taken early when she was only 49. And again, we don't understand it, but but I'm just grateful for the 49 years that I had her. I'm grateful for the fact, like you said, there's a transition. I'm grateful that she lives in my heart, she lives in my spirit, and what she taught me, most about what she lived, still is carrying on, and I'm able to actually put words to it now and empower other people. And then I thank God also, I almost died a couple of years ago with COVID, and my wife, she said, I had to pray you back. She said, baby, you're my best investment. I said, well, baby, you're my best investment too. But as of this morning, I'm 462,680,000 free breaths that the government hasn't figured out how to tax me on yet. So the average person takes about 20,000 breaths per day. And so, Jesus said, give us this day our daily bread. I say, Lord, give me this day my daily 20,000 breaths. So So if you can just start your day, just do something that you're grateful, it'll set, like I said, reset, reframe your day, your spirit. Like one of my friends said, man, before I knew you, I thought you didn't have any problems. You're always so happy and so topside. Now that I know you, dude, how do you even smile all the problems you have? Simple. I have problems, but they don't have me because I have faith and my faith has me. And my acronym for faith, I'm be quiet, FAITH, fully anticipating it to happen. See, I'm anxiously waiting something good to happen. And so, okay, no, I lied, not on purpose, but I lied. I got one more thing to say. So anyway, here's what I say every day. One of the things I say every day, and that is, I thank you that everything good that can happen will happen, and it will happen at the best possible time, even if I don't recognize it at that time. And usually I don't recognize it at that time, right? So, but when I say that, it helps my mind to start looking at if not the good in something, how it can fit in with something else. And like even in your tragic situation with your daughter, Christine, you've turned it, and again, most people say tragic, but I'm saying a situation that's not, that makes you come outside your comfort zone, put it that way. Yeah. But you've turned that into now being able to empower, first of all, understand other mothers and people who are in that situation. But not only that, but to empower them, right? Not to be victims, but to be victors. And same with you, Portia. I mean, you're taking your situation, like I said, even the people that responded improperly, but you took that and channeled it and created something positive, something that's going to help other people not to make the same stupid statements. Anyway, okay, I apologize here. Okay, but anyway, but to help people and also to help yourself to help other people. So again, that's what life is all about. And so I'm just, somebody that's listening today, I don't know where you are, but I just know one thing, my friend. I just got to stop focusing on the loss and realize, focus on what you have left. And then you leverage what you have left. And that you can create those other things. So I'm reminded of I said I was going to stop. So let me stop.
Well, I want to add to that really quick, Dr. Stan, because what you're saying too, and this is why I practice gratitude every day. When you cultivate a mindset or attitude of gratitude, nothing is truly lost. Everything that has been placed in your life. My favorite book is The Game of Life by Florence Scovel Shinn. That book is ancient. Oh. And in that book, the very first chapter says, man is not your enemy, man is not your friend, for man is your teacher, meaning that nothing is truly lost. Everything that happens for you is to teach you something. So the word adversity, right? We look at the word adversity as kind of like a bad word. No, it's not. Adversity stands for adding verses of wisdom to your life path so you can help other people to overcome whatever it is that they're going through. So I wanted to add that, Dr. Stan, because we're both on the same path.
Wow. So, Dr. Stan, can you give me your golden nugget?
Which one? Okay. Well, let me. This is April. You know I love acronyms, so let's do this golden nugget. April stands for actively promoting righteousness and love. You said it again. Actively promoting righteousness and love. See, some people think that in order for you to be righteous, you got to be approved and you got to be looking down on people. No. April is going to help us to remember to actively promoting righteousness and love. And by the way, righteousness is not the absence of the negative, it's the presence of the positive, right? So some churches I've been to, I'm like, hey, you telling me I can't do this, can't do. What can we do? Teach us on what we can do and should do, because if you get busy doing the do's, you don't have time to do the don'ts, right? So April, actively promoting righteousness and love. And then April, here, I'm about to get a little deeper with you now, applying principles, receiving increase liberally. See, sometimes it's easy for people to hear stuff. And see, that's the difference of being a martial artist, because they didn't just tell us what to do. They didn't just show us what to do. We had to do it, right? But then, like in life, in conferences, and even in churches, and it's like you go and you hear somebody say something, you think you know something. You went to school, and you're no. You don't know something. It's about mastery. It's about taking what you learn or hear and finding something that you can apply. And as you apply those principles, now you receive increase liberally. There's a verse in the Bible says the word preached did not profit them, not being mixed with faith or obedience in them that heard it. In other words, we heard the same thing, didn't do any difference in their life, made a huge difference in my life. Why? Because this person says, I applied the principle, and now I'm receiving increase liberally. So one of the greatest compliments the other day, a guy had me speak for his group. He said, man, I heard you like 20 years ago, and I thought, man, this guy's like at the top of his game. He said, now you're like light years ahead of what you were back then. He's like, dude, you just keep growing and increasing, and so I said, well, I appreciate that. But again, the key though is because of the martial arts, the emphasis of, again, you don't just hear something. You don't just watch something. You got to actually do something. And actually, we called it karate practice, meaning you work on it over and over and over and over again. You don't do it one or two times. Say, oh, I know that. No. I like what Bruce Lee said. To know and not to do is not to know, right? And so for April, if we can just find some principles we can apply, then we'll receive increase liberally. And our lives are going to blossom even more than they are now, because each and every one of us, we are miracles.
Wow, I love it. I love it, Dr. Stan. Thank you so much. So my beautiful viewers out there, just remember on the show notes on E360, all of my beautiful guest contact details is there. Please go and look. Dr. Stan has got an amazing YouTube channel. Portia has got an amazing YouTube channel. We're going to hear a little bit more about Christine in a few minutes, but go and follow my guests. Follow them on Facebook, connect with them, because they are truly amazing. So my beautiful Christine, can you tell us, how are you serving the world?
Yeah, my biggest thing really is to work with moms. And I know that there's lots of other people. Like at first I found it difficult to narrow it down. It's like, oh, I want to help everybody. And at the end of the day, really, for me, it are those moms that feel overwhelmed, that are feeling burdened, that are feeling disconnected, lonely, isolated, and not enough. And so for that, to give them that hope, to give them that direction that it really is possible to find that light within and to be able to connect with yourself so that you really can connect to other people, and that it doesn't have to be one or the other. And so, I do have some group things that I do right now. I'm focusing one-on-one and providing a place for moms to come and talk, to share, and to help them go through like what it is that they really want, breaking through the barriers that are holding them back, coming up with how they want to move forward, and then actually setting that plan in action. What does it look like to apply those new things that you want, and engaging in your family and those that you love. And so I have a 12-week program that I can walk them through with that. And then most recently, I am looking at developing a group of moms called Moms Oasis, where that'll be more of a group of moms that can come a couple of times a month, and we'll just have a topic. Like maybe it is about overwhelm, or maybe it's about I need a break. The silent scream of a mom. What are some things that we cannot say out loud? And we need to. We need to be able to release it, to let that go. And so that's also something that I'm putting together now as well.
Wow, amazing. So my beautiful ones, about a month ago, the president of E360 said to me, Sanet, why don't you become the Diamond Beauties and Tanzanites president of your own network? So Dr. Stan and Christine, you don't know about this, but this is going to come. We're going to start in June. So the two groups can have that. You can be your own TV host, and you can start getting your own audience, and then have a weekly show on E360, but through the umbrella of, and I have already named it Your Voice TV Network, because for me, amazing. I'm the voice of a million, and I wanted everybody to be able to tell their story. So my beautiful Portia is going to be helping some of the hosts that don't want to do the hosting and producing, because at the moment I am hosting and producing the show, that just want to do the hosting, and then she will do the producing on for them. So for that, I just wanted to say, Portia, I'm so excited about our new venture going forward. And now I'm going to have lots of hosts because there's a lot of ladies like you, Christine, and like you, Dr. Stan, that has the story, that has the ability to move people. We can have a movement to make the world a better place. And I remember clearly in October 2021 when the president offered me 12 episodes for as a gift. I said to him, "Oh, my Diamond Beauties is going to take over your network," and he just laughed at me. And I have quite a few hosts already in the E360, but then when I'm doing the network, this is going to be then a big thing. So I have big plans for us. So I wanted just to ask you, my beautiful Portia, you are also transitioning into new adventures. What is 2024 holding on for you?
You know, Sanet, you must have been reading my mind because I was like, you know what? Do I want to disclose it? Yes, I will. I will disclose what Portia is currently up to. So I'm currently on sabbatical from hosting the Grief Grand Tour to really focus on my grief work. So one of the things that I put on my vision board for 2024 is to host a grief retreat because I want people to be able to create community, be able to come together and experience. Because I can tell you from my own journey of losing both of my parents, experiencing that transition, I lost 10 years of my life. I couldn't see beyond what I was going through. And I think about all the people who have experienced loss or transition in their life who have forgotten how to live, who've forgotten how to create community, who've forgotten how to experience life beyond what they're currently going through. So that's on one of the things that I'm working on. The other thing that I'm also working on is my next grief book. So finding gratitude within grief is the next book that I'm working on, which focuses on the transition of my father. So both of my parents' transitions are very different. Both of my parents, I had a unique relationship with them. So I want to be able to paint the picture that just because you have a quote unquote absent parent in your life doesn't mean that you can't still honor them in some way. My father's absence taught me how to be present, and I was present for him as he made his transition out of this world. So that's the next thing that I'm working on. The other thing I will disclose this too is I'm diving more into my ministry work. So I'm excited about that, being able to perform celebrations of life for people, whether it's their four-legged companions or our two-legged friends who want an amazing homegoing, whatever you want to call it, because I think their story matters. Those stories still matter. What lessons can we still put into play, into our life, into the people who are still with us to honor those who have gone before us? So that's what I'm working on. Of course, with Sanet's network, I'm excited because producing is my background. I used to be a TV producer for NBC, and now I've gone, to do this full time, but I love it. Storytelling is my jam, 100%.
I love it. Can you please tell us what is your golden nugget?
My golden nugget, I have a couple, but I want to share this one. Normally it's 2 feet on the floor. When I'm having a rough day, when both you, Christine, and Dr. Stan, y'all know, when you're just laying in bed and you're like, oh, do I have to get up today? I'm tired. I've worked my butt off this week. I've burned both candles at the end. Can I really take another day? But for me, the minute I feel that, and as I'm laying in bed, 2 feet on the floor, Portia, just put 2 feet on the floor. Just make that your focus, 2 feet on the floor. Because if I can put 2 feet on the floor, then the battle has been won. I can conquer anything. Just put 2 feet on the floor. I don't care about making it my bed. If I can put my 2 feet on the floor, then that means I can continue moving with life. My other golden nugget, Sanet, that I want to say is gratitude can be found in any and everything. And it's so true. If we cultivate a mindset of gratitude, nothing is truly lost. If we learn to reframe, like I tell people all the time, I'm grateful for my debt. How many of us are grateful for the debt that we have? Because think about it. It provided opportunities for us that we would not have been able to have. So if we look at things from the mindset of gratitude instead of loss or learn, what we always have, we're so abundant. right? I said this to my uncle the other day. A poor mindset is not going to open rich doors. I said that to my uncle yesterday, and he was like, Portia, say that one more time. Like, a poor mindset will not open rich doors. I said, if you continuously fall into the boat of thinking that everything is too expensive when you can't appreciate what you already have, you'll never find wealth. You'll never find it, because wealth starts from here. It starts from within. So if you always have that thought in your mind or ingrained in you, talk about stepping out of the comfort zone. You have to learn to step out of your comfort zone and challenge that belief. Who embedded that belief in your mind that everything is expensive, that you can't be wealthy? You have to challenge it. And it takes stepping out of your comfort zone and being open to receiving a new approach.
I love it. So my guests, can you believe it? Our time is up, but it feels like we can have talked another hour. So I want to ask you, first of all, I want to say my beautiful Portia, Christine, and Dr. Stan, thank you for being here. You were amazing. May I ask, will you have a dance with me?
Absolutely.
Dr. Stan?
Let's do it. If you got my song, The Champ is Here, then okay.
So we can pretend, but I have to play the one that's not copyrighted. So my beautiful viewers, thank you for being here for another amazing show. Thank you, my Diamond Beauties and Tanzanite Heroes. Just remember, if you do give comments, we will not be able to bring it in, but on the Facebook, I will go and do hearts, and Christine and Portia will also comment on there, and Dr. Stan will be able to comment on the Tanzanite Heroes. So my beautiful viewers, will you have a dance with us? They said yes, they said yes. Here we go.
Walking on sunshine or dancing in the rain. Sprinkle me with fairy dust so I can fly away. Smiling at a moonbeam or swimming in the sun. Sprinkle me with fairy dust and cover me with love. From butterflies to eagles.